All right. So we missed our show yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to talk about the Iranian nuke deal that President Obama has now secured the necessary votes to fight back against the veto override. President Obama has acquired enough votes to stop this. And so essentially that means that they can't, well, expressly it means they cannot override it, but it also essentially means that it's a good possibility that they would no longer get the votes for it in the first place. And so, whereas they expected this resolution to pass the Congress easily and pass the Senate easily, now that President Obama has acquired enough support, which was 34 senators who have said that they support the Iranian nuke deal, there are enough votes to stop any override. That essentially means that there probably will not be a vote. And if there is a vote, it won't pass. So it's a strong possibility that it won't pass. If it does pass, it's irrelevant because President Obama will veto it. I think what's interesting about this conversation is, and also terrifying about this conversation, is the extent to which conservatives will go just to oppose President Obama. There is not a better deal. There is not one. No one has offered anything. No one, no Republican, no Democrat, no think tank has offered any solution that would not ultimately lead to war. And so the fact that conservatives have been fighting tooth and nail to stop this deal is problematic because stopping this deal will ultimately push us into war. And the question is, are they doing that because they simply want another war, which is tremendously disturbing, or are they doing that because they just oppose President Obama so much that they're willing to go to war, which is probably even more disturbing and puts everything into context. The last 6-7 years, we have seen an unprecedented amount of opposition towards a sitting president on every policy, including policies that they previously supported. Obamacare is a Republican policy. The general framework of Obamacare is based off of a Heritage Foundation think tank policy position paper, as well as Romneycare, what we have here in Massachusetts. So it's generally an idea that had been accepted by Republicans for years, but now that President Obama is bringing it to the table, they had to oppose it with almost 56 votes to repeal, but not to replace, because they don't have anything better to replace it with. And so you're essentially dealing with such a polarized party that they have no solutions other than something that would damage America, but they're willing to take that position simply for the sake of opposition. And that is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who would rather go to war than to give President Obama a victory. We're dealing with people that would rather see tens of thousands of people die every year rather than to allow President Obama a victory on health care, even though that case is probably finally, after all of the lawsuits and after the Supreme Court has ruled twice in favor of it, hopefully that that conversation is closed. But if I'm not mistaken, they have taken another vote since the most recent Supreme Court decision. But that just tells you the mindset of the people that you're dealing with. They're not doing what's in the best interest of the United States. They're doing what's in the best interest of their opposition to a sitting president. And once you have become once your entire ideology has become about opposition versus proposing alternative solutions, then you have become more than a do-nothing party. You have become a treasonous party that is really looking to undermine the best interest of the United States. You are betraying your oath of office. And I don't think that's I don't think that's overstated. They are betraying, they have themselves become a threat to the Constitution, to the United States, because they simply want to oppose President Barack Obama. Now, there are plenty of things that you can oppose him on and offer better solutions for and to, but the Republicans have not offered anything. If there was a better solution to be had, and if the Republicans actually had a opportunity to stage and to outperform President Obama by bringing policy solutions that are actually better, they would take it. But it's probably because there are no situations, there are no policies right now with regard to Iran that are actually better, because we cannot stop Iran from pursuing nuclear power for peaceful means. And once you begin pursuing nuclear power for peaceful means, without question, go along a parallel track that can allow you to pursue nuclear power for weapons of mass destruction. There's a thin line between nuclear power for peaceful means and nuclear power for weapons of mass destruction. Iran has the right to pursue nuclear power for peaceful means. And because they have been doing that, they have also, on a parallel track, been seeking weapons of mass destruction. Now, we cannot stop their peaceful use and means of nuclear power. But we have been able to stave off, to push back, and to delay, and ultimately to deny with the inspections their access to weapons of mass destruction. But the Republicans have come to the table with an absolutist mentality, saying they should not have any centrifuges. They should not have anything. This is what they're really coming. They're saying it's an all or none proposition, when in reality, we don't have the ability or the right, without going to war, to stop them from pursuing nuclear power in general. And so with this absolutist mentality, Republicans are taking this hardline position. It's not really about Iran as much as it is about President Obama and their desire to stop President Obama from getting yet another victory. But the spoils of war in this debate is peace versus war. And they are opting on the side of war just so that they can oppose President Obama. That is who we are dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. That is the type of opposition that Republicans have made themselves. There's no high, low, or in between. There is no reasoning with this type of mentality. They have spent the entire 7 years of President Obama's term, a presidency, opposing him at every stop. And the amazing thing about President Obama, even though I disagree with him on several things, I really disagree with him being, for lack of a better word, a status quo politician. I really disagree with him on not doing more to change the economic paradigm. However, he has still managed to pull victory out of unprecedented opposition. And perhaps if Republicans were more interested in doing what's best for America, President Obama could have actually done more. So in the face of this unprecedented opposition, President Obama has accomplished a significant amount, even though he has not accomplished everything we liberals and progressives